computer. Okay, so this is the first session of Cosmic Circle, and I'm Philippa. We have Margalit beside us, and we have Soleil who's with us, whose chart we're going to read, and we're also going to begin with some numerology. But what we thought is we can just center ourselves for a few minutes so we can feel grounded and present.
Okay.
So I want us to feel aware of the heaviness of our body, the weight of our body that's present to the earth, and the earth is pulling us in, the earth is grounding us, the earth is telling us that we're needed and we're rooted, and there's a place for us in this world. And we imagine these long roots from our feet going down, down, down into the earth, down into the earth. And we imagine that these long roots that go down to the earth touch this bright light at the center of the earth, and this bright white orange light travels from the center up our roots, up our feet, up our ankles, our shins, our knees, our thighs, our hips, our stomach, our chest, our arms, our throat, our mouths, our noses, our eyes, all the way up to our crown chakra. And we just feel how we're bathed in light and bathed in boundless love and so wanted here on earth, but also spirits and beings of light. And we imagine our bodies full of light and our crown chakra full of light. And we can also feel the light of the divine, the cosmic light, the light, the sun behind the sun, behind the sun, behind the sun, behind the sun, that's bathing us with white light. You know, humans on earth, grounded, connected to the earth, but connected to the cosmic flow, connected to the cosmic circle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
hello. Hi. I'm from Israel.
London, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'm going to start with your numerology. So to begin, what was really interesting was you're born 12:05 a.m. And when you told me your time, I said to just double check with your mum. And the funniest thing, and Margalit can also attest to this, is about 85% of mothers never know what time their children were born. But nobody knows that, so they always think that their mother has forgotten them, wasn't aware, wasn't around, isn't present. But actually, it's just that I think the process of childbirth, the fact that you kind of enter this in-between world, you can't, I mean, you're in a delivery room, you can't see light. So it's not common for mothers to know unless it's been recorded. But because according to your records, you're born at 12:05 a.m., that would mean that you're born on the 1st of August. And then you said that your mum wasn't sure if you were born at midnight or just before midnight, which would be 3107. So now that we're talking, so it doesn't affect your astrology that much because it's a margin of like 10 minutes, and I checked already, and it doesn't change your ascendant. The planets stay in the same place, etc. But it does change the vibration of your numbers, which is very interesting. And because Margalit has taught me numerology, I'm also really keen to hear what she has to say. So already when you and I had been chatting, I remember I went for a walk. And I'm really into like this kind of stuff. So I'm like, was it 31? Was it the 1st? And because I've seen a picture of you, my intuition felt you're definitely born on the 1st of August, because I see personally the strong 8 in there. And 8 is we'll talk about this a bit more, but 8 is it's the number associated with Pluto. And it's also about the balance of spirit and an earth, material energy, almost like the infinity, and the need to have this balance. And because 8 is such a force to be reckoned with, and 8 can also be very deep. 8 is also can be linked to Scorpio, so it's all about what we don't see. It's all about the resources beneath the surface. It's all about these. In fact, I get goosebumps. It's all about these energies that you can't put your finger on, but are so powerful. I feel you have 8 within you, and I also would say that when I see the 1 and the 8 together, I feel, and again, we'll see what Margalit says, but this is my feeling, is I see the 1 and the 8, because the 1 is very much about determination. It's about being the leader. It's about being the innovator. It's about stepping forward, being the pioneer. And then when I see the 1 and the 8, I see the connection between the two, but I also see that there's a gap. So my big sense is that there's a lot of resources, a lot of power, a lot of strength, a lot of psychic energy that you have, and I get goosebumps when I say this. And my sense is that it's actually waiting to come out, and I want you to embrace it more. That's my strong feeling. Also the reason why, I mean, when we chatted before we started, you also do have a 3 energy about you. If you were born on the 3107. You have a Jupiter energy. You're also quite light, 3 is it tends to be, I think, and Margalit can is a very optimistic number. It's somebody who's also somebody of the world. But as we've seen in your year, you do have a 3, so that it also balances itself out. So my sense in terms of numbers is that you're definitely born on the 1st of August. Because my sense is what we see of you, what do they say? Still waters run deep. There is so much depth and feeling within you that I don't feel you share that enough. And there's so much power in there that you're really a force to be reckoned with. And my sense as part of your journey here is to claim more ownership of that. And to claim more ownership of that, to really believe that it's okay for you to break ties and break cycles and step into the forefront and really shine your light and be the leader, and not try and be faithful to the old systems that have happened. So Margalit is like nudging. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
So I'll just add up your, actually let me move to Margalit, and Margalit can continue with the numbers, and let's hear what you have to say. Yeah.
I am sure about the hour, because I was a companion a few deliveries with friends of mine, and it's very interesting because the baby wait until the shift of the hours, the shift. So when you find 12:05, it means this is the hour. It's like when we make a chart and it's the beginning of the ascendant. Like the woman has the construction, we say, the constructions before the birth.
Contractions.
Yeah. And it's wait until the moment that the ascendant in the chart, change to the few beginnings degrees of it. So I think this is the hour of Soleil. And also it's very interesting if you look at her chart, she has the numbers, at the end of the birth date. So I want to add something about the 8. 1 and 8, leader with air power, and she still has hidden power that she need to discover and to work. You say it very, very correct. And 8 usually they need to work more because they do things, and sometimes they need to do it again, because when they does it, they earn it. It's like Sisyphic work. They need to do it again to earn it. This is the 8. Okay, and the 3 is, there is 3 things around the 3. They need to be optimistic, joy, being joy, and being faith.
Faithful, like having faith.
Yes. And also about Pluto. Pluto speak about power. Pluto speak about things that the person need to overcome personally. I have a feeling also like you, that she is more powerful, that she expressed to the outside world.
Yeah.
And I think she need to dig very deeply inside. It's about, I have a feeling it's about connections in the family. It's about relationship in the family.
Yeah.
That maybe she didn't found the place to be exactly like she wants. And I have a feeling that outside from the place that she was born, she can express herself. And when a date open with the first day of the month, the person, it's like a seed. It's not in the material world, because it's not physical yet, because after the 3 we came to the 4, and 4 is the start of the materialism of the building. But 1 is idea. So she has a lot of ideas about expressing herself, about lead something, about developing something, and she can be example to people. The way she will discover her power and put it outside. Oh, and also 3 is power around nature. She need to be around nature and around the word simplicity. Simple thing. Do it simple and deep.
Yeah.
Because she is a deep person. She's very
deep.
I think when people meet her in the beginning, they can't know how much she's deep.
Yeah.
She's
so
very,
much emotion that you hold inside. A lot.
Yes, Soleil, you have a lot of inner world, a lot of and the next year, okay, you can speak about this year and next year.
So yeah, and I think also because we're moving into a lot of the bigger themes, we can, like, I'll talk a bit about next year and this year, but also I think we can move straight to the chart, because there's some topics
and after that speak about the personal year 5, and next year she's going to enter to the 6.
Okay, but maybe you can do that, because the way I added her numbers is she's a 3, but maybe she's a 4.
No, this year.
Okay. So,
you're right. It's
is she a 3?
5, 6, 6. Wait a minute.
Sorry, Soleil.
Wait a minute. Yes, she's 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we connected with the chart.
Okay.
Put the chart.
So, but because you're a 3. Wait. So she's a 3, and then +9 +5. Oh yeah, this year is 5, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes.
And so what Margalit said about 3, I'm also a 3. They love traveling. They love their freedom.
Yes.
And 5 is also the year where there's a lot of communication, a lot of exchange of ideas, a lot of learning. It's a very mercurial number. So it's almost like, I would say, Mercury is ruling you. So a lot of exchanging of ideas, very fast paced. learning.
Yes.
But yeah, let's go to her chart.
Yes.
Okay. Share screen. I think this is it. I did one with the transit.
Good. So this is without the transit. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to put the transit that we can see it in the beginning or not?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Because I mean, it's also quite big. Soleil, we have an eclipse. We have an eclipse tomorrow morning in this part of the world, but I guess it's tomorrow night for you. And basically they're in Taurus and Scorpio. This eclipse that we have tomorrow is, can you see anything? What can you see? Oh, resume share. 1 second. Resume share. Stop share. Share screen. Oh, 1 second.
Soleil, can you write a sentence that we can see what you feel? How you feel? Oh my God. Okay, love you.
Oh, good, great. So okay, so basically we have an eclipse in about 12 hours, but we're all feeling, you know, the eclipse energy very strong. Margalit has strong Taurus. I also have strong Taurus, so we're feeling it. And this eclipse energy begins, and I get goosebumps. This eclipse energy begins a series for the next 2 years that are really, in my belief, going to affect your identity, sense of self, how you see yourself, as well as it will impact your intimate and close relationships. Because obviously, if you change the way you see yourself, you're also going to change the way you relate to others. And this can be romantic relationships. It can also be very close partnerships or business partnerships. This eclipse is technically not that close to your ascendant because the moon is in like 27, 28 Taurus. And then Margalit, it stays in Gemini as well. So it kind of touches, yes. It goes into the, so it's also affecting the Gemini part of yourself, which is also quite prominent because you have Chiron in Gemini here in your first house, which maybe we'll get to.
Yes.
But you're entering a very big transformational time in your life. Let's say that. That's in regard to the transits. We'll come back to the transits. I have some thoughts on your chart, but I'd like Margalit maybe to maybe you can go into her good qualities, and then I can come onto the deeper stuff.
Okay. I want to start with the gift that your chart has. It's the big triangle. Can you show it, Philippa?
Oh yeah. So this is your moon in Aries. Yeah. This is it's a grand trine, Neptune, Sag, to Mercury and Leo. It's okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And show her in the middle. This is Earth.
Oh yeah, this is Earth. This is Earth.
Okay. When a person born with a big triangle, it's like 120 degrees between the planet, and he received the big triangle around Earth, it means it's a big gift. Usually something protects the soul, something protects the person in this life. And it's a gift, and we need to see which element you have it. So you have it in a fire element. So it's so good. So you are a fire person. It means a lot of energy. It means creative force that came from your mental side, because Mercury is very strong and Neptune in Sagittarius. You have a lot of visions, a lot of ideas, a lot of thinking, thoughts about culture, about places that people live, about beliefs. I think, I don't know, we'll ask you after it, but I think maybe you're right. Maybe you have something about, it's about communication, a lot of power about it, and also about leadership. Because the moon in Aries, and you are Leo, we jump now to the sun. It means that you have, the sun and the moon in Aries. It's like a masculine side, signs. It's like going outside and say, here I am. Here is my power. This is me. But when we jump to the ascendant, is how the person is expressed, it's outside. You have a fixed sign. You have Taurus there. So it means that we spoke about it, that a lot of power is inside, and your moon is in the 12th house. So something close, and the Neptune is the 8th house. So it's very inner power. So now we have the connection between the numerology and the astrology. Okay, you can continue. I just need to bring water, to my throat. Okay.
Soleil, do you want to just tell us how you're feeling? I mean, like, are we together? Do you have anything to say to it, etc.? Okay, I'm just gonna check the chat. I am aligned. Yeah. Okay, so and actually, the incredible thing about numerology and astrology is the numbers correlate. So, for example, Aries, like number 1 has to do with Aries or Leo or a very strong sun. So here we see your Aries moon there. Then of course you have your sun in Leo. The 8 is the Pluto, which is actually in opposition to your moon. So that's very prominent. And then your 7th house, this is your relationship sector, is in Scorpio. And also we have a question from her, Margalit, that she mentioned before for the chart. But, okay, so I want to get into some things that I was thinking about that is some of what I've mentioned and some other things. So like Margalit says, you have this incredible power to be a leader. You have very dynamic energy. And probably because often with grand trines, it comes so easy to you, you don't realize the gift that you have. Also, the fact that they're in the houses of 12, 8, and 4, they tend to be like the darker houses or the houses that don't have so much light. So often when you have like personal planets there, like Aries is the moon here, Mercury, is sometimes they don't have the as much of an ability to shine because those are more emotional houses. They're more watery. So you can imagine fire getting into water. They just don't know how to like burn bright, let's say, or it's more challenging to really shine. So that's probably, and which will lead me to my feeling that probably even though you have very leonine appearances, you look like a lion, you have the optimism of a Leo, you have the lightness of a Leo, maybe even the playfulness of a Leo. My sense is also maybe energetically, maybe you don't 100% feel like a Leo because not only is you got that 8 in your birthday, but also your sun is here in a very, very prominent place. So this is like, if you see the top half, this is where the sun is actually showing in the day. And these planets are actually in the night. It may not make sense what I'm saying, but just stick with me. So that means that when you have planets here, they're much more comfortable, much more extrovert. When you have planets here, it means you can tend to be more introvert. Having the sun right here, it's basically conjunct your IC. And your IC is a very, very prominent place in your chart, like the IC, the MC here. These are very, very, they're called the angles. They're really important. So when you have planets near there, or like in synastry, when you put your planets next to somebody else's and they have that, it means that there's a very strong connection. So even though your sun is technically in the 3rd house, which is the house of communication, of siblings, of connecting to people, of short travel, of like hanging in your neighborhood, being quite talky, needing to connect with people mentally, it's actually very affected by the energy of the fourth house, which is the energy, you could say, of Cancer. It's very emotional. The fourth house has to do with, oh yeah, I can see there's a chat. Let me just check. Okay. The fourth house has to do with our emotions, our home, where we're from, our roots, our mother, sometimes our father, it depends. So the fourth house, in my opinion, is the most private part of yourself. It's like, it's not just your home, your house, your roots, but it's also that very, in my opinion, this most sacred place in the back of your head. The 12th house, where your moon is, I feel, is more psychic. It's like beyond you. But here, and I know somebody who has the sun in the fourth, also a Leo. And that means that in a way they do want to have command and leadership in the home, and it's important for them to be seen in the home, but they may also struggle with that because the Leo in general wants to be seen. It wants to have fun. It wants to be, how would I say, just be themselves and show their light. But in the fourth house, it can mean that somehow this can be dampened, or there could be this feeling of, oh, you know, why are you always trying to have attention to yourself? Or don't you realize that you should put the needs of your siblings before you? And there could be something in regard to that regarding siblings, because it's in the third house. But also because you have Chiron here in the first house, which I'll just kind of like go into now, and then we can come back to it, is Chiron in the first often is this feeling, and we all have Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is the place that we have a very deep wound, but in us fixing it and working on it, we're able to take our knowledge and share it with others. So for example, you got Chiron in Gemini. So you may feel like you don't express yourself well enough. You may feel like you're not that bright. You may feel that, you know, nobody hears what you're saying. But then probably other people tell you, wow, you express yourself so brilliantly. You're so smart. So there's a kind of complex that forms because, in a way, the more that you try and speak more eloquently, somehow there's a kind of complex dynamic that's formed. But ultimately, I love Chiron. It's like a key, okay? I love Chiron. I find Chiron so powerful. It is a really soft spot for many of us, but we can grow through it. So Chiron in your first house is often, and actually Chiron in your first house is kind of like having Chiron in Aries, which the whole world is going through. Chiron in Aries, this question of, who am I? Do I really belong? Am I valuable? Do I have power? Am I worthy of existing here in this world? So I feel like there are these questions about, like, you know, do I really matter? And that's also what I felt with the question of the birth time. My feeling was, and I'd like to hear from you regarding that, there was these questions of like, am I really important to my family? Like, are my needs really important? So that I see here with the Chiron here and the sun here. And also there's a Mars in Cancer. And as Magali taught me, Mars in Cancer tends to mean there's often a story around the family. There's often a story about, like, when Marguerite can go into more detail, but my sense is, I feel part of your journey, of you moving forward, of you becoming more and more into your power, is creating your own rules, your own blueprint, your own trail, and really, almost like breaking with tradition, so to say. And the thing is because when I see the 1 and the 8, they're so apart, because like 1 is here and 8 is here. But the thing is, and also when I look at your numbers even together, I feel like the right time is coming for you. And it's almost like you're in a kind of, in terms of all these gifts that you have, I feel there's a kind of hibernation phase where you're gathering yourself, you're gaining your energy, the way you're looking at things. And I feel like there's going to come a time when you're going to be able to really share the information that you have. And this information, I feel, or the gifts that you have to share, I feel are very progressive. And that could also be, and actually you got 10th house in Aquarius. So 10th house Aquarians, they tend to be very progressive. They're all about society, helping the greater good, creating equality. And this, of course, even in the transits, is you're being affected a lot by it because Jupiter's in Aquarius. So I guess what I'm saying to you is you may have progressive or avant-garde ideas that maybe have given you some insecurity in the past because they're not reflected out in the world, but that shouldn't be the thing that stops you. And now the mic to Margalit. And we've got, okay, so we technically started at like 10 past. So I think now we're like halfway through. So Margalit.
Okay. I hope I will feel with my throat. You know, it's almost more than a week. I just want to add a few things. And one is, I want to add one more question about the questions that she asked about herself. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is someone listening to me? Mm-hmm. When I'm speaking around the early age, around the family configuration, is someone listening to me? Because I think the whole story in the chart, at the end of the story, is around Gemini, around Mercury, the ruler of it, around the Chiron in Gemini. And I think it's about communication. It's about the culture that she was born to. You know, when you see a person that born with planet conjunct to the dragon tail, can you show it?
Oh yeah, here, Neptune, Sag.
It's very karmatic.
This is called the South Node. So your dragon tail is also the South Node, and here's your North Node in Gemini.
So when we find stars, planets near the dragon tail or the dragon head, something very, very important, the soul choose something very important to work on in this life. So we see Neptune, the ruler of 11th house, and 11th house is also society, between the other things. And also she has Aquarius in the midheaven, very high place, our point in the chart. And this is Neptune. So Neptune is Sagittarius, speak about beliefs, about culture, about something that she had in her previous life. Maybe it's about tribe, maybe it's about place that she was born and they have belief in that community, maybe it's about culture, maybe it's about visions. So she was born with something that she need to connect it to this life. She need to translate this philosophy of life towards and to bring it in this life. But she has Chiron there, so she has a wound around it, like you say, that she need to correct. Soleil, when you will walk around communication, around words, around writing, around saying things to the world, you will correct something very deep inside yourself. And also, you are very, very judgmental to yourself, because Venus, the ruler of the ascendant, is in Virgo. All the time you have a person, you have someone here and say, it's not correct. You should do it in another way. So you have like a little policeman here that say all the time, it's not 100%. And this is the thing that stuck you, that make you stuck in points in your life and don't let you to express yourself fully.
And also she has Saturn opposition Moon here. So there's a feeling of yeah, being hard on yourself, trying to get things right, has to be perfect. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this, or because my sense is they could have been an authority figure.
Yes.
Maybe your mom. I feel it's more a female energy, but it could also be your dad or a sibling or a cousin, etc. But I feel it's almost like that policeman that she's talking about could be a family member who's almost, yeah, being the policeman, but making you continue a kind of being hard on yourself. Yeah.
I think the moon and the relationship with the mother. I think the significant figure in the family that influence her behavior, her how she reacts, how she expresses herself, how she looks to herself through the mirror. I think it's the mother figure, it's the feminine figure in the family, because she has also moon square Mars.
Yeah.
And the moon rule the third house, and Mars rule the Aries. So it's very interesting aspect.
And also my feeling, and I think I would like us to talk about her moon Pluto opposition. But my feeling is there wasn't space for your feelings.
Yes.
And this, yeah, because I even feel it in my body, the moon here and the Pluto here. It could be that there was a very dominant figure and also with the sun here in the fourth, there could have been a dominant figure that wanted all the attention on them. Yes. Again, like moon square Mars, it's like, yeah, what they were doing was important, what they were feeling was important. Maybe you even had to be a caretaker, I don't know, for them. And in that way, yeah, because I feel it. I feel, more and more you need to really give yourself, hold space for yourself and give yourself more compassion and more love and give your space, allow those feelings to come out, because there's nothing wrong with your feelings. We all have horrible feelings about ourselves and life, but it's really about how we sit with it. Nobody's perfect, nobody at all, but it's like allowing these feelings to come out, even negative feelings or thoughts you have about people, and just like bringing it that light of day, as opposed to that 8 energy where you keep pushing it and suppressing it, but I'd just like to hear if you'd like to.
And I want to add.
Okay, let's see. So she says, when I was younger, I was told I was very sensitive, so it was policed a bit. I was told I had to be tougher by my parents. They were worried it would make me naive. Yeah. And naive is, South Node, that South Node, like, you probably came in also with that naive, Margalit can continue.
I want to say with this configuration, with all this fire, maybe you jump to a false self, not the true self that you want to be, that you want to express in this life.
Yeah.
And you came to the outside world more tough.
Yeah.
More tough. And the word is the key. Self-love is the key in this chart. Self-love. You need to be gentle with yourself. Yeah. You need to make motherhood to yourself. Yeah. And when I see, usually I want to add something, Philippe, about Mars in Cancer. Mm-hmm. When we find it, there is no harmony in the place, the most place that we need to find harmony and tranquility and belonging, like a womb. So she didn't felt it with this Mars. And it's in the third house. It could be around the family members, the sibling. And I just want to make some suggesting. You need to write. You need to express yourself, maybe moving, maybe dancing, maybe to communicate with your words, not just, and maybe to stand in front of people and to do it, and people will listen to you and say, Wow, it's good. And yeah.
But the biggest person you have to talk to is yourself, I feel.
Yes.
It's what Margalit says, all of that. But remember, the biggest listener, the biggest audience is you listening to yourself, you talking to yourself, you sending positive affirmations. And now sparring off of what Margalit says.
Yes.
Yeah, last night I was reading about, Chiron in the first. And often what happens is sometimes Chiron in the first is because you may have this feeling of who am I? I'm not worthy. Where do I stand in the world? You can often try and, which is like Chiron in the seventh as well, you can try and find yourself through other people. So back to what Magalit was saying about the identity is sometimes maybe you create an identity as a reaction, in response to how the world is treating you, but it's not necessarily authentically yourself. And
Yes.
also Mars in the 12th, Moon in the 12th, sometimes can be people who don't really know 100% what they feel or aren't 100% sure about things. So the only way they often tend to know what they feel is in relation to something else. So again, like, I hope all of these things are also really inspiring you to really connect to that well and that depth within you that is so rich and so powerful. And it's funny because, I mean, I'm sure Margalit can say that, but a lot of feminine type people have that experience of being and intuitive, empathetic, people of, oh, your feelings don't matter. Oh, stop. Why are you talking about all this stuff? And they grow up in environments like that and then push it all aside. But because you're not living in alignment with that, it's about you, again, reparenting yourself and pulling that up and really speaking your truth, because the well and the wealth is there, because it's all about breaking the old tradition. Margalit.
Oh, it was so good.
Thank you.
And yes, and I want to add something. The path of fortune is in Leo.
Yeah. So, this is the path of fortune here. Oops.
Yes, yeah. And it's in the fourth house. So she need to make motherhood to herself. She need to connect to the words pleasure, love, creativity, children, and be open with the world, to feel free to be her. And I just have one question, if she can write about it. Are you impulsive sometimes? I'm thinking about Moon and Mars. Yeah, impulsive, yeah.
Yeah. She says very funny, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So are you doing it with people that you know or with people that you don't know? Where do you feel more safe to do it? Alone, yeah. Okay. So this is a big story, Philippa, because the moon is like in a closed place, So this is the reason, Soleil, that you need to make something creative, to take all these aggression feelings that build inside and to put it outside and to make metamorphosis with it, the word? Transformation. And maybe in relationship, she attracts to her people, because I'm looking at the moon oppositions, Saturn Pluto in Libra, square to Mars in Cancer. Maybe you attract to you sometimes partners that they are not making you feel harmony with yourself. And the more you will be gentle with yourself, the more you will love yourself, the more you will find way to ventilation, your inner feelings, the more you will do it, the more you will be more clear and more clean to choose another type of partnership, of partners to enter to your life.
What do you think about what we're saying? Okay.
Makes sense. Okay.
Magalit, maybe you can talk also about the moon, because her question to us was like, what can she do in order to find, you know, the right partnership and to begin a family, and I felt like talking about moon Pluto is a very important thing to talk about, but also the fact that with these eclipses there's going to be so much change in terms of your identity and sense of self. And like I said, the impact it has on relationships. It could potentially attract a partner. I'm not saying that it will be, but it could potentially do that, or at least change you in such a way that you become much more aligned with the partnerships that you want.
Okay.
But Margalit, yeah, what do you have to say?
I want to say that you need a partner that is more feminine side. The anima need to be more developed in his personality. Because you have a lot of fire, so you need someone that will accept it, you know, that will, it will be good for him also, your fire side. A person that you can stand and speak your words without thinking about anything, just be you. Yeah. A person that will accept you in a period of time that you need to be alone with yourself, to clean your mind, to be in a peaceful place. And I join to what Philippa say, you need to invent a new relationship, not a relationship that you see in your place, not the relationship that you saw when you was a child. And the more you will be more harmony with yourself, the more you will be attract the right partner to your life. And I think the last 2 years, you are in a very, very significant transition in your life. Something changed in your body, because Uranus is in Taurus in the first house. Something changed the way you express yourself to the world, the way you're looking, the way that the outer world accept you. So the place that you're going out and the place that the people see you is transformed in the last 2 years. And I think you ask yourself a lot about your physical side, about how you look, about motherhood, about pregnancy also, because it's influenced Scorpio. Also, Scorpio Taurus speak about it. And I think we haven't got to the last point in this process, because Uranus is going to make opposition to Pluto Saturn. And I think that will be the point. I think it's 2024, Philippa? Something like this.
Oh, when it makes it to her sun? When Pluto...
when Uranus will make opposition to Pluto Saturn, Uranus transit.
Oh, okay.
This will be a great change in your life. Soleil, you start the transition, you start the big change in your life when Saturn and it's still making opposition to your sun, and Uranus making square. And it wasn't an easy one. It wasn't an easy process, because sometimes you feel that life is press you with all the circumstances around you. But you are in a very, very deep and not easy process of changing, and you need to let go beliefs, you need to let go things that lead you until now, and you need to open yourself to the new path that will start.
Thanks, Margalit.
And wait a minute,
yeah.
after the 5, she will enter to the 6.
After the 5, she'll enter into, okay, continue.
So 6 is open yourself to ultimate life. 6 can open yourself to a new very, very deep relationship about harmony, about 6 is Venus, and it could be a creative year. So you need to open yourself in this year, the 5. Okay?
So I had, I think, 2 questions based on what you said. One comment. I liked what you said about her finding a partner who like can almost take all her energy, who can accept all her energy.
Yes.
Because you have this moon Pluto, you can be very intense.
Yes.
You can have very, very, very intense emotions. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you can have fears around it of really showing who you are. You shouldn't. My sense is that, you can have the friends that are, light and that you can joke with, or the colleagues that you do that with, where you're that energy. But then in general, I think with your intimate relationships, friendships, just people who are your confidants, you need people who can take all of that. But more importantly, you need to be able to take your intensity. You need to be able to accept your intensity and sit with it and accept the feelings that come. So I found it interesting what you said about Soleil having a partner with more anima, more feminine energy. My sense is I would be curious about also somebody who has some earth, because I think somebody who's, yes, emotionally intuitive, emotionally intelligent, who can understand you, who can read you. But I also feel like somebody who, when you kind of get very, frenetic is not the right word, but very electrical, somebody who also is able to offer you some of that harmony and some of that peace, and also who can absorb your strong emotional periods and doesn't get scared about it. Because you need somebody who's solid, who doesn't get fazed at all by all the emotion and all the feeling that you have. That's my sense.
Yes.
And that can happen, but you have to be discerning about the people and that you're bringing into your life, and whether they realistically can meet that. And if they don't, then adios, or like, okay, then that person is not my confidant, that person is not my intimate person, but I can laugh and joke with them. So be realistic about that. And again, in terms of naivety, if you're talking about it, don't be overly optimistic. Try and see people more for who they are, and don't be optimistic about them delivering more than they can. Then the other thing that I had thought of, which I have forgotten, is so in terms of like even the most important placement. Okay, now it's like we've got like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In terms of a very prominent placement, I would say your biggest, I think, in my opinion, your aspect that I think is very prominent and very strong is your moon in Aries in the 12th house, in opposition to Pluto and Libra. Only because I feel like when you get emotionally involved, Moon Pluto can also be very obsessive. It can also be very like, it's just an extremity of feelings. And what can happen is often when people have this kind of aspect, you may also feel so alive in those feelings that you think that's love, or you think it's attachment, you think it's all these many things, but actually the person is just bringing out all this insecurity in you that makes you misunderstand that dynamic. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say, then curious to see what Margalit has to say, and then maybe see if there's any more answers in regard to more about her finding a partner or starting a family. Margalit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to.
We can talk for days and days and days.
I just want to.
Yeah. Okay. She says, I'm absorbing. Don't worry about time. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to to add something very important. When to add to your word, to your very important thing that you say about the moon opposition to Pluto, Saturn, and square to Mars. Soleil, when you are in communication, in this harmony, when you got to a point in communication to this harmony, conversation or something, you know, that you express and the other person doesn't understand it or doesn't react well to it, and you need to react, don't go to old patterns that you observe, that you got from your very, very early conditions. Because sometimes it's just jump from you with this moon, you know, because Philippa, look, Venus is make also square to Uranus and Chiron, because sometimes, Soleil, the wounds answer and not you. So you need to be you just need to take a deep breath, go inside yourself and stop the rushing of the energy and the thing that brought from the old patterns, the old and be you and try every time to find a new way of action, not reaction, action. Yeah. Because sometimes you react, and when we react, it's not being in the moment.
Mm-hmm. It's not being in your power.
Yes. Being in a very true, she wrote very true. So be in the moment, being in your power, be you and not your mother and not your father and not the family and not be you. And it's like ongoing walking until the last day of your life here on earth, because it's ongoing process to discover who you are, who you really are.
Okay, so I have one question, which is, do you sing? And then the other question is, I feel like for somebody like Soleil, meditation, sitting in the power, these are things that I think, especially sitting in the power, it's a bit like meditating, but it's a bit different. It's really just connecting to yourself, your source. It can even be like the exercise we did in the beginning and just staying in that space of the white light, you know, and feeling the energy of it. But sitting in the power, for example, or meditating, these things, especially when you start your day, I feel can be very powerful for you, because you're connecting again to your source, connecting to your center, connecting to that everlasting, that you that existed before time, that's connected not only to the earth and not only to the cosmos. And the thing about that power and sitting in there is that it allows you to grow your power and then move in the world, as opposed to doing the reacting thing that Margalit said. And you know, many people do the reacting thing, so it's not like you're an anomaly. But I feel like the more you build your power and go out, rather than having the outside world tell you who you are or tell you how you feel, or you reacting to the influx of it, the more you're going to build that power. And also just the sitting and building an even deeper spiritual practice will also connect you to that very strong 8 energy that you have to offer. I mean, there's so much you can do, I feel, spiritually, you know. So let's check your chat.
I just want to add, to add 2 things. She wrote that she used to sing and she doesn't do it more.
I think you should sing.
But chanting, not to sing with words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you need to invent it, like a free dance.
Yeah.
You need to do it. You need to do it with music, and it will be this will be your meditation. And also because you are trained your number. Nature is healing for you. Going in the park, sit under a tree, it's enough. Just do it. go without shoes, you know, feel the earth, connect to the earth, and it will change the vibe, the frequency. I love nature a lot, yeah. In nature, you find your inner child.
Yeah. And actually,
yes.
And it's interesting because I think with your grand trine in fire, and I also, you feel like a very, like a, very fast thoughts in your head, that's my sense, is the nature will also help you to not get so caught up here, but more again, like what Margalita is saying, is connecting to your body. And don't forget, we've talked about a lot of fire, your Taurus rising. Taurus rising like to do everything slowly. They don't like to be rushed. They're so connected to their body. They love to be touched. They love to eat well. They need to be grounded, you know.
They love music.
They love
because
music.
This is the part of Taurus.
Yeah.
The voice.
Mm-hmm.
And
so,
she need to eat well because she has Venus in Virgo. She need to eat when she is not tired, when she is not angry. When
and eat clean.
Eat clean and vegetable and something that clean the body.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last question, the last big question, if you have, Soleil.
If you have anything before we wrap up and comments and we could talk till the cows come home, but I also have to run off. This was insightful.
Okay.
I mean, they can always be like with Margalita and I, we're always open. Like if you want to share anything later, you know. Okay, just a person who absorbs. That's also, I understand. We understand.
What does she do in her life, Soleil?
Oh yeah, do you want to share what your profession is? And also, I think Venus Virgo also is very good, like with diet, with herbs, Virgo. So there's also diversity in organizational culture. Wow.
Oh.
Okay, maybe she doesn't want to go into too much details.
Yes, this is Neptune conjunct Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Very good. It's about culture. It's my passion work that is enlightenment. Yes.
So I guess for me, like the takeaways I feel is to be much more spontaneous in your energy, in your light, in sharing who you are. Much more sticking by your truth, even if your family or people who trigger you say otherwise. It's okay to be you. It doesn't matter. It's your truth. They have their truth. So really being as you are. And my third piece of advice is really sitting with yourself, really tapping into that really strong power you have, listening to yourself, being your best friend and accepting your feelings for who you are, and living a much more grounded life where you're really being present with yourself. So in some, I feel like you need to be spontaneous, and in others, I feel like you almost need to withdraw and ground. And I feel like that will help. Margalita, any lasting?
Go after your aspiration. We didn't speak about Ceres in Aquarius. You are nourished society, and you are being nourished from society. So you need to make this link on all your life. I think the key, I'm saying again, the key word is loving yourself the way you was born, the way you are. Because
the way you are right now.
Yeah, because you are amazing. You are so generous also. We didn't speak about her generosity.
And also, like, I mean, think about how did we stare at her when we put on the Zoom? We were like, wow, so much light, so beautiful, and your eyes, and
yes,
yeah, you offer a lot in many ways.
Yes. Yes, and you are in the middle of process. Open yourself and continue. It's a hard work. It's hard work to do it, because you need to, it's like breaking something because it's in a fixed sign. It's like breaking things in your life to build something new.
Yeah.
Open yourself.
But it feels so good, the breaking, because it's like, I feel like the breaking is an old shell. And when you break it open, it's like inside is this luminous blue something, you know?
Yes, yes.
That's even like air, ethereal, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. And
love. And love.
Chant and dance.
Yes. And yes, and sing. And be gentle with yourself. Be gentle. Love yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so we have to leave it here because, you know, we can keep talking and we also maybe will start repeating ourselves.
Yes.
But yeah, and feel free to share any thoughts with us and any questions that you have. And we're very grateful. So we'll stop the recording now, Marguerite. Yeah?
Yes, yes.
So first of all, I'll stop the share. Then I'll stop